Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in with me, for subscribing to my channel, for watching my videos. It just means the world to me, knowing that people all around the world are watching me do my artwork. Thank you so much. So new year, new big project. So you might remember a few months ago, or in fact it's up the top there, I did that really long painting, and it was basically 7 different techniques, 7 different fluid art techniques on 7 different bits of the canvas, because I wanted to try and show how to do different techniques in one video, just to condense it really. So I'm going to go again, but this time I'm doing a square canvas and I'm doing almost like a pinwheel design. I'll show you in a second. I've divided it into 8. Now I'm going to do a rainbow. There are 7 colours in the rainbow, but turquoise is my favourite colour, so to me that's like the 8th colour. So I've divided it into 8 sections. I'm going to do 8 totally different fluid art techniques in 8 different colours, 8 colours of the rainbow. So I'm going to use the dominant colour, so for example red, the red section. There will be other colours mixed in, but red is going to be the dominant colour. Orange, yellow, green, turquoise, blue, purple, pink. So I'm so excited. I'm going to divide the canvas into the 8. I'm going to use lots of frog tape. I'm going to do this on 8 separate occasions. It's going to take me ages, but I really enjoyed doing the last one, and I had lots of really positive feedback about it. I'll put the link in the description for the previous painting, the other painting with the 7 sections. But yeah, really looking forward to really getting my teeth stuck into something big that's going to take me a while. So let me show you the canvas first. So a pretty big canvas, it's 30 inches square. I've got a pinwheel. So to do that, I found the centre of the canvas, and then I attached a piece of wool to a pencil and positioned that in the middle, and then just used that to create the same curve for each section. So I've got 8 roughly similar sections to my pinwheel. So to plan this pour, this is a little lino print I've just recently done. I've got a little notebook here, a little sketchbook. I've just drawn the plan of the canvas. I've just made a list of all the different techniques I can think of. And then I've made a list of the 8 that I want to include in the painting. I've done a little sketch so I can see whether it's going to be dots like cells or flowers or... So I'm going to include a Dutch pour, a flip cup with cells, some blooms, a straight pour, a swipe with cell activator, chameleon cells, pour, a patchwork swipe, and balloon flower dips. So very slightly different from the previous painting. So 8 techniques, and they are slightly different. I didn't do balloon dip flowers, and I didn't do patchwork swipe before. So then over here, I've sketched out roughly what I want to do and in what order. So what I've tried to do is balance it. So a pour with cells, chameleon cells, is opposite the flip cup, which has also got cells. The ones with the flowers, blooms here, and then balloon flower dips here. So I've just tried to balance it so things are opposite. So that's the plan I'm going with. So the first section I'm going to pour is ready. I've prepared the canvas. I'm going to do a Dutch pour. So you can see I've put some green frog tape down. I put some tape over the top, and then very carefully with my craft knife just cut around the edge to create the 2 curves. I've then just used my hairdryer to heat it up and then just press it down, and that I hope is just going to create a really good seal so that the paint doesn't flow underneath. That's the plan. And then I've just put a bit of plastic down with a bit more frog tape just to make sure that I'm protecting the outside canvas, because I want the paint only to go on this section here. So I am going to start my Dutch pour with the purples. I couldn't decide which section for which colour, so I just went for the first colours I laid my hand on, and I've actually got quite a lot of purples mixed up, so I thought, well, let's go for purple for the Dutch pour. So I've got Amsterdam purples here, I've got some silver, and I've got some white. Now I want to add a little bit of silver because it makes really pretty cells. And the type of Dutch pour I'm going to do is like one of my explosive Dutch pours, where I put the colour down into some lines, and then I'll blow with the hairdryer just from this point, and I'll blow it out this way. So it might take a few sort of jets of air to blow it around, but I'm going to blow it around with the curve, with the line of the curve. So to do this, I'm just literally going to drizzle some paint on. And then with the hairdryer, I'm just going to blow this around. So I think I might go on the inside curve first. I'm not happy with the fact that I've got one jet of air right in the centre here. I'm actually going to add a little bit more paint, and I want a little bit more white because I like the contrast in it. So I'm now ready to do the next section. The purple dried really, really well, and luckily it didn't bleed over. It stayed really in quite a nice crisp edge, which was brilliant. I'm so pleased. So the next section, I'm missing a section, and I'm going for the one after that. So this is red. So it would have been purple, pink, and now red. And for the red section, it's blooms. So my plan is to put some white down. When I do blooms, I just use Dutch pour consistency paint. However, I have just changed my mixture for Dutch pour, and I'm actually using PVA glue and water instead because I've run out of flood Floetrol. So it's, if you imagine, it's still the same consistency, but instead I've just mixed it with PVA glue and water instead. So I'm going to cover the section in white. Then I'm going to do some little puddles on top of each other of a few different colours. So the dominant colour I want is carmine red, but I've also got some Montmartre old mauve, and I've also got some Amsterdam bronze, and then this red one, Amsterdam, oh, what's it called? Is it Brilliant Red? It's Pyrrole Red. So for the fourth one, so I've got 3 variations of red and a bronze. I might not use them all. I haven't fully decided yet. So I'm going to cover the base with the white, use the hairdryer to blow that out, and then the blooms, I won't use the hairdryer, I'll use my breath to blow out little flower shapes. So I'm just going to put some of the white down first. Right, I'm going to just do one bloom to start with. When I do a pour like this with my Dutch pour blooms, I tend to put the dots everywhere and then blow them all out afterwards. But I just want to see how much paint I'm going to put down, and I want to see the size of it, of how far it extends. So I'm just seeing where the edge of the tape is there. Let's just go for one here. So that was quite a bit of paint. So if you put more paint down, you're obviously going to get a bigger bloom. That was a bit too much paint. Ooh. So there's quite a lot of paint there, so by the looks of it I'm going to have quite big blooms. Then I've got some cell activator, so this is mixed 3 to 1, so 3 parts Australian Floetrol to 1 part white Amsterdam paint. And then I'm just going to blow on this. I'm going to be blowing the white over the red and pushing the paint out in different directions. Right, as pretty as this is, it's far too white. I like it, but it looks like a white section, not a red section, so it has to go. I'm going to scrape this. New plan, I'm going to do a red base, and then I'm going to put some of the other colours down, and then the white cell activator on top. And then I think I'll end up with a much redder section. So the next section I'm doing is yellow. So I've got a couple of different yellows, a really bright yellow and then a much paler yellow. I've got some bronze, I've got some Pebeo gold, which is it's the more yellowy of the two golds, the paler version. And then I've got some old mauve by Montmartre, because I just wanted just a little bit of depth of darkness to it against the light colours. I thought if I just have these light colours, it's just going to all look a little bit samey. So I'm going to be daring and just put a little tiny bit of something really quite dark in there. So the paints are all mixed with PVA glue and water pouring medium. And I mix them 3 to 2. So 3 parts pouring medium to 2 parts paint. And they've got a thickness to them, but they do also flow really nicely. Right, so in the centre of my straight pour, I want a tiny bit of white and then the yellow, because it will look really bright and fiery. I'm not happy with it. I'm going to scrape it. I'm going to take out the bronze, and I've got a new plan. Instead of doing 1 straight pour, I'm going to do 3 little straight pours, and I think that will work out so much better. Plan B, I have mixed white, yellow and gold only, and I put them in my split cup. In case you're worried about the amount of wastage of that paint, I didn't waste it. I actually have it here. I scraped it. I've got it in a cup, so I will use that for something. Right, so let's try. I'm going to start in the middle again. I'm going to start with, what shall I do actually? Maybe I should make this a ring pour. I'm going to make this a ring pour. Third time lucky. 1 gold, 1 white and 3 yellows. So let's see what this does. next section I'm doing is the turquoise section, and it's the balloon dip flowers. So I will layer up 5 little tiny paper cups. I'm going to do flip cups just to create a base on the section, and then I'm going to dot on extra little puddles of paint afterwards to do the flower dips afterwards. So all I'm going to do at the moment is layer up some cups. In fact, I might actually just do 6. I think 5 will be fine, but because it's such a weird angle to have to try and tilt the paint over, let's do 6, so I've got a spare. So I've got turquoises. So this one is the really dark one, which is the Amsterdam greenish blue. I've got some iridescent turquoise by Pebeo. I've got a lighter turquoise by Amsterdam, and then I've got this one, which is, let's just have a look, De La Rowney phthalo turquoise, and some white. I'm going to use, in fact, I think I'm going to take out the really dark one. No, do you know what? I'm going to use them all. I'm going to use the white quite sparingly, and then I'll think about the flowers and the colours of the flowers afterwards. And I will probably just layer these all a bit differently. They're mixed with PVA glue and water and pouring medium 3 to 2. So 3 parts pouring medium to 2 parts paint. So quite nice and smooth and runny. So I ended up just layering up 5 cups and not 6. And that was just simply because I didn't think I had enough paint. I think this should be absolutely plenty, but I think it could be pretty tricky tilting it out. So we're just going to have to do it slowly and carefully. So I'm going to flip these over. I think there's plenty of paint. It's just whether I can get it to all the different positions, all the different angles and. And then I'm just going to, if I tilt it this way, it should flow that way. Oh, wow, beautiful. And in fact, I'll put them here just to drain a little bit, just to get any extra paint on there to help it flow. So all I'm going to do is very carefully just dot the paint on in a circle to start with. So each one of these dots is going to be a petal of the flower. The closer together you put the dots, the smaller the flower will be. And then if you do them really far apart, really big circle, you'll have a really big flower. Let's go for white next. I'm just going to do this one first to test this, and then I can adapt it for the next flower if I'm not happy. So I'm just putting the dot just slightly inwards. So on top of the first dot, but slightly in. Got a balloon which I've just blown up. I'm going to dip it just in the very centre of that flower. Perfect, absolutely perfect. It's a bit irregular, that's fine. I've got the white, I've got the contrast I want, but I've got the turquoise in the middle. I think I'm going to do them all like that. Really like that, happy with that. And then you get a little bit of a pattern design on there. So if you want to put that then onto another canvas, you can do. I'll show you. So it makes a really pretty little balloon kiss. So really exciting. I'm now on to my fifth piece of the painting, and that is pinks and flip cup. So I've mixed up some pinks. I've got a couple of pale pinks, slightly darker pinks, and then I wanted to have a bit of contrast, so some white. I've got some pinky purple colour, a real violety colour, and then a slightly more purple, a pinky purple on the purple side. So I've got a bit of a range going into the purple. So obviously the purple section is next to the pink section, but I wanted just a little bit of overlap to make it interesting. I'm going to layer up three. I think I'm going to layer up three. I think this is going to be enough. I'm going to layer up 3 cups. I will layer them all slightly differently, I think. So if I start maybe one here, one here, one here, just so that they're all slightly different. So I'm going to layer the paint down the side. Now they're all mixed with PVA glue water pouring medium, and I've mixed them 2 to 1. So 2 parts pouring medium to 1 part paint. And in every one, I've mixed in some coconut milk hair serum, so some oil. So I'm going to get some cells, as I say, because it's going to be a flip cup. So unfortunately, I wasn't happy. Just didn't like it. The purple just dominated. So what I've actually done is now layered up 5 little tiny cups, but I've taken out the dark purple. I scraped this and I got this really beautiful purpley pink. So I've used that in these cups. So I've now got slightly smaller cups, simply because I'd run out of those other paper cups. We'll see what this does. So I've taken out the white and I've taken out the darker purple because it wasn't necessary. To be honest, I want more of the lighter pinks. Purple does have a tendency to take over, and already here I can see it taking over. Let's just hope when I torch for cells, I'll get more of the pinks coming through. I'm much happier with this already. I really like the composition. Actually, you can see the 5 cups there. There isn't any really awful white cells showing through. I've obviously got a few huge cells, but that's absolutely fine. Right, let's torch it again. I've left it quite thick. I haven't drained loads of the paint off this time because I want to see if that makes a difference, having thicker paint, if I get any larger cells. Section number 5, it's greens and it's the chameleon cell pours. So I've just layered up 3 cups full of different greens. I've got some very yellowy greens, limey greens, grassy greens, a sap green, iridescent greens yellow. There's also the iridescent greenish blue in there because I wanted to add a little bit of turquoise to blend with this one and a little bit more yellow to blend with this one, which I've totally covered up. So I've actually layered up 3 of these cups. That's way too many. I think I'm just going to put down 2 and I think that should be plenty. So I've mixed my paint with the PVA glue pouring medium and I've mixed it 2 to 1. So 2 parts pouring medium to 1 part paint. And for chameleon cells, there is no silicone in these paints. So this is a simple flip cup with layered paint. Going to tilt it out and then I'm going to add the silicone, the oil afterwards, and I'm going to dot it on to make the cells. Right, I'm using my coconut milk hair serum, which is just an oil. I'm just going to put a little tiny bit of it on my worktop here. And I'm using just a big push pin with a point on the end. And I'm going to dip the end of the pin into the oil and then dot it onto my painting. I think I might use the contours of the paint as a way of trying to work out what design to do, because I can't see now the edges of my curve. I know roughly where they are, but I can't see it exactly. I don't think I want to do something in a line, unless I do a line. No, I don't want to. I'm going to go with the edges of this paint. In fact, it's split there, so why not, let's go through the middle of where it's split. So section 7, which is orange, this is going to be as my second attempt. You can see there's already something on here. I did a swipe with cell activator and the consistency was too thin. I just didn't like it. So I'm scrapping that. I'm still going to do my swipe, but I'm going to do it with thicker paint and some oil in the paint. So my plan will be to drizzle some paint on, probably in lines, maybe wiggly lines actually. Alternate the different orange colours that I've got, and then I'm just going to swipe over the top and then torch it, and then because I've got the oil in, as I torch it the cells will come up. The paints are mixed 2 to 1, so 2 parts pouring PVA pouring medium to 1 part paint, and then the oil I'm using is coconut milk hair serum. You probably can't see, I don't know if I can try and show you. I've got let's show you a few different oranges and I've mixed them. They're not specific colours, I've mixed them myself. This one is Pebeo Studio Acrylics Iridescent Yellow, Orange Yellow, and then this started off as vermilion, but I've added a bit more yellow and extra yellow here, and this is a very yellowy orange. I've also got a red, I think it's a Pyro red, and I've added a little bit more yellow, so it's not quite as bright. I've also got white, and I've also got some bronze. I'm not sure why I've got bronze. It definitely matches, it definitely goes. And I think I just would like a little bit of contrast. Like I've got the gold in with the yellow and white. I think I just wanted a bit more contrast. So I've got 7 colours here. So I'm going to do lots of thin lines and then swipe over the top. Right, I'm not happy. There's actually too much orange. There is not enough contrast. I can't believe I'm saying that. So that's now my base. I'm now going to drizzle some more on and re-swipe it. I think one colour that I really want quite a bit of is the white, because that really shows the contrast nicely. In fact, maybe red, the reddy colour, the white and the yellow. So to create the contrast to the orange. So I'm now doing more of my stained glass swipe. So lots of little drizzles of colour everywhere. And then I'll swipe over the top. And then I think I'm going to swipe with a piece of kitchen roll or something totally different. I've cut up lots of pieces of kitchen roll and I've got a little water spray here. So I'm just going to spray the end. So actually the end now is a bit damp, so it makes it a bit heavy. So when I put that onto the paint, it's actually going to stick much better. Right, let's see if this works. So I'm just going to contact this with the paint. And very gently, I'm going to swipe, but I am going to go in wiggles. Right, that's looking much better already. So I'm going in wiggles and I'm going with the curve of the section, roughly. Right, I'm much happier already because look at that contrast, much happier. Pretty excited because I'm on my last panel, number 8, and the colour is blue. Now I was supposed to be doing a patchwork swipe, but I've changed my mind. Instead, if you've been watching some of my previous videos, more recent videos, I've been doing what I've called a layers Dutch pour, where I've put the paint on in lots of little layers and blown across it with my breath, each layer individually, and it gives the look of hills or waves, so lots of almost some depth, so sort of smaller at the top, bigger at the bottom. So that is what I'm going to do. So I'm scrapping the patchwork swipe. I'm going to do a layered Dutch pour instead. Now with the other ones I've done hills, so it had the perspective, so it looks like the foreground here and then the distance there. I'm not going to do it in quite the same way. I'm going to do alternate 3 different colours schemes of blue throughout it, so it won't have the depth, but it should have the same sort of rolling hill effect, but without the depth, if that makes sense. So the first set of blues, I've mixed a lot of these blues myself. So this one is, I think it's manganese blue, but with lots of white in it. This one is a really beautiful metallic blue. And then at the base of each line, I'm going to be putting some of the dark blue, and that's what I'm going to blow up over across the other blues. So how should we do this? Let's just put a little bit of that down first. Now this is going to be the most difficult one to do, I think, because it's so tiny. And the idea is you start with the top so that I can blow the colours up every time, up and over. Right, so I'm basically just going to blow that blue, let's dab it so that they can meet, up, over. Let's just see where this tape ends. Yeah, I've got quite a way to go. Okay, yep, that's pretty. it's finished. It's taken several weeks. It's taken a long time, but I really enjoyed it. I've had some highs, I've had some lows with it. Some of the panels first times, some of the panels 2 or 3 attempts with paint scraped in between. But the overall result I'm really happy with, because it's bright, it's full on, it's a rainbow, and it's 8 totally different techniques. So let me show you one by one the dry result. Actually, before I show you, I'll just tell you what I've done. I've put a piece of white cord and white string separating all of the panels. And the reason I've done that is there were some ridges and some gaps and some holes in between the 2 panels. So I needed something to actually fill gaps as well as to look good and look like it's separating the colours. So really pleased with that. I tried just painting, but it just didn't work because of the gaps and the holes in the canvas. I needed something physical to actually fill the gap. So I went for white cord and really pleased with that. Right, so let's start with the red. The blooms. You might notice I've just put some little red dots in the centre because the white, it was pretty, but it just was a little bit too dominating. So I've just put the red in the centre and it just softens that white slightly. Love this section, really pleased with it. Then the oranges, it was 3rd attempt on the orange. Really happy with it. It's quite thick paint, so you can see some ridges in the orange. But the cells are really pretty. It's dried really nicely. Now yellow, I think I'm gonna stick my neck out here and say that I think yellow might be my favourite, and that is because of the gold. If I just tilt it, if I can, because it's such a big canvas. Oh, there we go. Can you see? Oh, there we go. That's perfect. You can hopefully see that gold next to the yellow. It's so pretty, so shimmery. Really love that. Let's just put the canvas back up. Right, green. Wow, love it. Just, it's so striking. I'm really pleased that I went around in the shape of the paint that was lying there. So sometimes I might do a shape or a pattern over the top, but so glad I didn't. I've just gone with the contours of the paint, how it was naturally laying on the canvas. My balloon kisses, my balloon flowers. I have touched this up slightly. I've just gone over with some of the turquoise, the lighter turquoise, and blocked out some of the white. The white was just dominating so much. It was so bright white. I've just gone over with some of the turquoise to make it look a bit more turquoisey. Now, if you look at the base under the flowers, it's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful blend of turquoises. And then this is dried really dark. The violet, so I really like that. So it's not dominating, it doesn't take over. And actually the violet there in those flowers is very similar to the old mauve here in these flowers. So that sort of ties in nicely, the flowers here and the flowers here. So my layered Dutch pour just dried beautifully. Love the composition of it. I really love how the 3 different colours alternate. You've got some really pretty little cells there and also down here. And then my purple, what makes this for me is the bright white cells. I think if we didn't have those bright white cells, it would look a little bit bland, but it just makes it really bright and really stand out. And then last but not least, my flip cup. And with this one, I just love the blends, the sort of seamless transition between the different colours. So there's obviously transition here, but because of the cells, it just sort of glides and blends together. So really pretty. So I'm so happy I've done this. I'm very glad it's finished, but let me know what you think. Now, which is your favourite section? Now that's a difficult one because it might the technique might be different versus the colour. You might prefer one technique but one colour. I think the yellow ring pour might be my favourite. What do you think? Which is your favourite? Please do hit the thumbs up button if you've enjoyed watching this. Please do subscribe to my channel. Great, thanks so much for watching. Bye.